recruiting that it had in previous years, but the Crimson Tide added a big piece to the 2021 class Saturday when wide receiver A.J. Hall announced his commitment, choosing the Tide over LSU, Georgia, and other big-name offers. Hall, a 6'3", 190-pound receiver out of IMG Academy in Bradenton, Florida, is the number 5 ranked wide receiver in the ESPN Junior 300. Commissioner Adam Silver said the NBA remains committed to resuming the season, but that there is still no timetable for a possible return or even a deadline for canceling the 2019-2020 suspended season. Following the NBA's Board of Governors meeting held via video conference Friday, Silver said the league is still not in position to make any decisions. Based on the reports that we got from varied outside officials and current public health officials, we are not in position to make any decisions, Silver said in a conference call with reporters, and it's unclear when we will be. Silver outlined several factors the NBA would need to be able to resume the season, which was suspended March 11th. And for your ESPN Pensacola Sports Headlines, I'm JP. For This Week in Sports History, I'm JP. In 1876, the first official National League Baseball game is played. Boston Red Stockings beat the Philadelphia Athletics 6-5 at the Jefferson Street grounds in Philadelphia. In 1939, Ted Williams got his first hit off of Yankee Red Roughing, a double. It was the start of something special as Williams was a 19-time All-Star, 6-time batting title winner, while also winning the MVP and Triple Crown twice. Oh, and not to mention he was a no-doubt Hall of Famer. In 1969, Joe Frazier knocks out Dave Zigglewicz in one round for a heavyweight boxing title. Frazier finished his career 32-4 while also being the first boxer to take down Muhammad Ali. In 1996, the Chicago Bulls won a record 72 games in a regular season, a record that stood until the 2016 Golden State Warriors won 73 games. And in 2003, Patrick Waugh played his final NHL game. In addition to it being an NHL Hall of Famer, Waugh is a 4-time Stanley Cup winner and 6-time All-Star. That's This Week in Sports History. I'm JP.
I'm Troy Rafferty, and many of you know about my love for sports and my longtime support for our local high school athletes. One thing these fine young people have taught me over the years is this: whether it's on the ball field, in the classroom, or in a court of law, always work your hardest and achieve the best results possible. And that is the commitment we make to our clients and our community.
Levin Papantonio in Pensacola since 1955.
JP here. Everyone here at ESPN Pensacola wants to send a shout out to our first responders and healthcare workers at this time. We know it's tough, but we appreciate the work you put day in and day out. We also want to thank our essential workers out there for helping all of us continue to live our lives as normal as possible in this time. For our community, keep rocking it. We are going to get through this. Remember, we were named the #1 strong town in America. That wasn't by accident. We have seen so many people step up and do their part, and we thank all those people for their efforts. We will be stronger for this, and together, we will beat COVID-19.
The teams, the games, the fans, the local talk. This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Don Le Batard. Game day bucket, go boom! Stugats.
I do like that idea, Goldie. Greedy. I like the idea. I have a friend named Goldie. I called you Goldie.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugats on ESPN Radio.
The Last Dance continues this Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Immediately after the show airs, listen to the wrap-up podcast hosted by Jalen and Jacoby. The after show brought to you by AT&T. The guys will be joined by director Jason Hare to talk about this week's show and behind-the-scenes stories of the making of the episode. Subscribe now to Jalen and Jacoby, the after show, on Apple Podcast or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Unfortunately, we only have 3 minutes left, and I honestly wish that we had an hour left of show so we could just sink into what a poor job we did during that last interview, and those stories were not any good. And I feel bad saying that because John Sally is nice enough to do this for free, but I hyped him too much at the beginning of that interview, and I cannot lie to our audience, Stugats, and you've now trapped us into having to do that interview again and again because in the middle of it, you decided to sign a week-long contract with John Sally.
It was also my idea to play, because the best part of that interview was not something he said today. It was something he said on Friday. And it was my idea to play that beforehand to really ratchet up the expectations.
Guillermo,
and
what do
man,
you
did we set the bar too high.
Well, that's the other thing. That sound took 40 minutes to get to Bristol somehow. We've got so many handcuffs on us up here. So, Billy, what are you doing? You're shaking your head. Why?
Don't worry about John Sally tomorrow. He's doing Sports Center, so he can't join us.
Of course. Okay, so Sports Center has come in and taken John Sally from us, and it's a good thing, Stugotz, because those three stories weren't any good. And John and I sold him as a great storyteller, and then it took us 40 minutes to get that story to Bristol, but it was a good story, indisputably. And I feel like you could have told better stories on Rodman, and you didn't play with him.
Yeah, probably. But now you know what's going to happen. He has some time to think about it. He has some time, to think about the language. He is going to deliver some gems on Sports Center tomorrow.
I can't lie to the audience, though, Stugotz. That was not good. That's as hacky as anything you and I have ever done together. That is just you did your fake over laughing.
Yeah, I had to.
Well, you had to, because I wasn't supporting you there, because I was sinking into these stories aren't any good.
I mean, this guy promoted his ice cream industry, his cannabis business, all while telling bad stories. Really, masterclass.
And now what's happened? We've burned the bridge to Sally by ripping him the moment he leaves. But it cannot go unstated that the last 12 minutes of radio were not good. We went long with him.
I just realized that. An extra couple of minutes to try to fish out a good story.
It's the hackiest thing. He was trying to fish out a good story. We were trying to fish out a good story. And all we did was make the mountain of poop higher. Just more and more poop. And now Sports Center's going to steal. Now Sports Center's going to steal him. He's going to give them all the good stories. And all we're going to have here is your trailing fake laughter.
We're all in uncharted territory, looking for ways to support our communities. At Dell Technologies, we're making sure small businesses have the right tech solutions. Dell Technologies advisors are here for you, from helping small businesses stay connected and productive while working remotely with Windows 10 and Microsoft Teams, to rapidly deploying remote work solutions that limit upfront costs with Dell Financial Services. We're standing by you every step of the way. Call 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
At AutoZone, we're here to help you get what you need, and that won't change. In need of an oil change? Right now, you can get 5 quarts of Pennzoil Platinum Full Synthetic Motor Oil, an STP Extended Life Oil Filter, and a $15 AutoZone gift card by mail or email, all for just $33.99. And if you need something fast, you can get it fast. Your way, whether it's next-day delivery or free same-day pickup, in-store or curbside. The choice is yours. Get in the zone. AutoZone. Restrictions and details on AutoZone.com.
For This Week in Sports History, I'm JP. In 1876, the first official National League Baseball game is played. Boston Red Stockings beat the Philadelphia Athletics 6-5 at the Jefferson Street grounds in Philadelphia. In 1939, Ted Williams got his first hit off of Yankee Red Roughing, a double. It was the start of something special, as Williams was a 19-time All-Star, 6-time batting title winner, while also winning the MVP and Triple Crown twice. Oh, and not to mention he was a no-doubt Hall of Famer. In 1969, Joe Frazier knocks out Dave Zigglewicz in one round for a heavyweight boxing title. Frazier finished his career 32-4 while also being the first boxer to take down Muhammad Ali. In 1996, the Chicago Bulls won a record 72 games in a regular season, a record that stood until the 2016 Golden State Warriors won 73 games. And in 2003, Patrick Waugh played his final NHL game. In addition to it being an NHL Hall of Famer, Waugh is a 4-time Stanley Cup winner and 6-time All-Star. That's This Week in Sports History. I'm JP.
The teams, the games, the fans, the local talk. This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Are you paying too much for term life insurance? There's a tremendous price war among the major term life companies, and rates have dropped dramatically in the past few years. For example, for a man age 45 non-tobacco user, it's $1 million of coverage at $75 per month, level rate for the next 10 years. Or a man age 50 non-tobacco user can obtain $500,000 of coverage for a monthly premium of only $110 per month, guaranteed not to change for the next 20 years. That's right, level rate guaranteed not to change for the next 20 years. If you're a smoker, we have great rates available for you as well. At Term Busters, we specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. If you're looking for a new or replacement term life insurance, call today for a quote at 1-866-929-1950. That's 1-866-929-1950. You're probably paying more than you should. Call Term Busters at 1-866-929-1950. That's 1-866-929-1950. Remember, 1-866-929-1950. Rates and availability may vary by state. Sample rate quotes for preferred non-tobacco underwriting. Exam required to qualify.
I'm Troy Rafferty, and many of you know about my love for sports and my longtime support for our local high school athletes. One thing these fine young people have taught me over the years is this: whether it's on the ball field, in the classroom, or in a court of law, always work your hardest and achieve the best results possible. And that is the commitment we make to our clients and our community.
Levin Papantonio in Pensacola since 1955.
What's up, Chad here from the Sports Drive. Well, no sports to talk about. March Madness canceled, every major sport, so maybe you get to spend some more time around your family. Oh, what? Not supposed to touch anybody? Well, just go home and watch Price is Right. But if you are older, you have a better chance of getting it. Right, Mike Gundy? Oh, 40? You should be all right. And he won't be broadcasting sports, but one guy that feels the same way we all do with no sports, probably Joe Buck.
Oh, gosh. Oh, man. Oh, my goodness.
Sports Drive 5 to 7 with no sports.
JP here. At ESPN Pensacola, we are hometown proud. We love our hometown heroes like Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawk Doug Baldwin.
They fake, the lob, wide open, touchdown, Doug Baldwin.
Bigger body that Wilson likes to throw to, big target. Here's Baldwin, smaller target, and he ducks in for the touchdown.
Hi, this is Doug Baldwin, and you're listening to ESPN Pensacola.
This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM and 99.1 FM, the only local station that talks sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. From Gullick and Wingo to the Sports Drive with Chad Brillante. Plus talk football with Coach K at noon, sports call every Saturday. If you'd like to partner with us as an advertiser or a promotional partner, just give us a call at 262-6000.
You're listening to ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. All sports, all the time. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
The following has been produced by Talk Football LLC. Former Florida Gators quarterback, NFL quarterback, and NFL head coach. Coach K. Stevenson has a resume second to none, and now he's sharing his insider information with you. Talk Football with Coach K starts right now on ESPN Pensacola.
Welcome into Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you alongside former NFL head coach K. Stevenson on this Monday afternoon. We hope everybody had a great weekend, is doing well, staying safe. Of course, washing your hands, practicing social distancing. As we start out our show every time, we'll continue to do this just because we have such, the utmost just appreciation for these people. We want to thank our first responders and our healthcare workers, of course, also our grocery store employees, truck drivers, all essential workers out there. I know it's starting to get a little bit better around here, but nonetheless, you guys have been on the front lines battling it out, doing things that, that we weren't doing. We appreciate you. We appreciate you guys and just putting yourself out there, because you're trying to make our life as normal as possible in a time like this is so tough. And look, it goes without saying that, just the utmost gratitude we have for those people. Coach, the community as well has done a fantastic job. I think, things are looking up, like I said. We've always had to stay positive in this thing, and everybody had to do their part. But, Coach, I know you feel the same way, and how are you doing today, my friend?
You bet we do. We all feel the same way. We have the we just can't thank them enough for all that they've done. Believe me, I understand probably more than most what they're going through. But it's just amazing what they've done, and we respect it so much. We want to make sure we say that every day. It's you can't say it enough, and we appreciate it. Hey, the other good thing, there are a lot of good things. We're going to come back, keep doing what we're doing. We'll come back stronger and better than ever before. And then the other good thing that's going on right now is this is draft week. Hey, Thursday night, going to be a little excitement for a change.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something we've been talking about for quite a while now. Of course, with the draft coming up, like Coach said, Thursday, it's going to come on at 7 o'clock. It's cool because, look, a lot of people, they're combining ABC, ESPN, and NFL Network will air the 2020 NFL Draft. This is something that, this is a draft that's not only something to talk about just because of what's going on in sports right now, but this is probably one of the best drafts in quite some time. It has so much potential here with all these guys and how deep this draft is. It's going to be a lot of fun. Remember, we're going to break down a team today as well. Missouri is the team. Now, this is an interesting team with Eli Drinkwitz coming in. If you're a Missouri fan, if you're not a Missouri fan, a lot of interesting facts here to talk about with Missouri and their upcoming spring. We'll talk a little bit about them later on in the show. I do want to open up the phone lines, 850-623-1330. Remember, give us a call. Let us know what's on your mind. No matter what it is. If it's football, let us know. That's what we're here for. We want to talk some football with you, and we definitely love our listeners. And before I move on, Coach, I also want to thank our sponsors because we could not do this without our sponsors. We are so grateful for them sticking by us through all this going on. I know it's a tough time for everybody, but our sponsors also do so much in the community. They are a tremendous part of Pensacola as well, and we are just so gratifyingly satisfied with everything that they have done as well, but we're so gracious for them as well. And one thing, Coach, I want to jump to this real quick. Former Colts great Mike Curtis has passed away. Now, this was announced this morning about a couple hours ago. The former Baltimore Colts star, he died in his home in St. Petersburg, Florida. For those that don't know Mike Curtis, well, it's understandable. Listen, he was a first-round pick in 1965. The Colts moved him from fullback to linebacker, and it proved to be a pretty wise move, as Curtis would go on to be a two-time All-Pro and make 4 Pro Bowls during his time with the team. He also helped the Colts to a pair of Super Bowls and helped set up the game-winning field goal in Super Bowl V there with an interception in the fourth quarter. He also earned a spot in football lore when he laid out a fan who jumped on the field and tried to run with the ball during the 1971 game against the Dolphins. We always love those players that do that. But, Coach, I know it's a part of life. We're only here for such a short period of time. We need to appreciate it. But Mike Curtis was one of those that we'll definitely miss.
He really was, and I knew Mike, and I'll tell you, having been on the field, he was a heck of a football player, an outstanding, not just a good football player, but an outstanding football player. He was a great teammate for those that played with him, and he showed a toughness that was very difficult to find very often. I tell you, he was just a very, very disciplined, organized, smart, tough football, all the way around. Great linebacker.
Yeah, I agree. And, I didn't know him personally, just watching videos on him and hearing things people have said about him. There's not somebody that said anything negative about Mike Curtis. And just the hard work and the work ethic and the type of player he was off the field. He was the same type of player. He believed in living life to the fullest. And it's just, you hate to see this happen, but it's just a part of life. And our condolences go out to the family. But, Coach, I want to move on to something else here that's interesting. Look, the Wonderlic scores came out. Now, I'm going to talk about the Wonderlic scores for the 2020 NFL Draft quarterbacks right now. Now, the couple things to remember with the Wonderlic, it's a test used to assess the aptitude of prospective employees for learning and problem-solving in a range of occupations. The Wonderlic is available in 12 different languages and often used in college entry-level jobs and team-making efforts, and it consists of 50 multiple-choice questions to be answered in 12 minutes, just to kind of give you an idea of what the Wonderlic is. Now, when we look at this year's quarterbacks, Coach, I'm going to go through the list real quick and we'll talk about it. Nate Stanley, the quarterback out of Iowa, scored a 40. Justin Herbert scored a 39. Jake Fromm scored a 35. Joe Burrow scored a 34. Jake Luton scored 33. Brian Lewerke out of Michigan State scored 30. Jordan Love, 27. Anthony Gordon, 25. Jacob Eason, 23. James Morgan out of FIU scored a 23. Jalen Hurts, 21. And Tua Tagovailoa scored a 19. Now, the average is anywhere between 20 and 24 on this. Coach, I'm hearing a bunch of different things on this. I'm hearing people say, look, I know it's not everything, but it does say to the IQ level and the decision-making of a quarterback. Now, look, Lamar Jackson scored very low, and he had a good season, but we'll see how all that plays out. Coach, we've seen guys that score low and they struggle to read playbooks. This goes back to a lot of different things here. Scoring on the Wonderlic, how important is it? You were an NFL coach. You've been there, Coach. You've made some decisions here in the front office. How important is a Wonderlic if you're looking at a prospect?
Well, I have to tell you, we felt that it was fairly important, not just something you dismissed. We used the Wonderlic test, like all NFL teams did, and put a certain amount of credence in it, especially with the quarterback, the center, with those in particular where split-second decisions had to be made and calls that influenced the other 11 people on the field while they were out there. Now, I will say this. I think this was brought to the attention of the public, I think, because Tua is 19. But that's not really, there are other things we were smart enough to take other things into consideration when evaluating how much the Wonderlic played in the assessment of a given player. Now, I can tell you with Tua, that would not be a major factor at all, if any. 1 or 2 points off the average could have been contributable to anything. Could have been having a bad day, not feeling his best. Things could have gone wrong that morning when he took it. Not the best day in progress. Anything could have happened. We don't try to excuse it away, but I can tell you that with Tua, I think it makes his football IQ, I think, is off the charts. I think that's huge, and you can get that by watching him play from the time he's in the huddle to the end of the play. That shows his football IQ, and you can't measure that on a Wonderlic test. A Wonderlic test, to answer your question, does play a part, and it's not just for 1 year. It also is attributable to conduct and also productivity over a number of years. So anyway, yeah, it does, but it's not the major factor.
Yeah, I agree, Coach. I think that it is something to be said, and for a lot of people saying, well, the players don't even take it serious, and that's where I go, well, if you don't take it serious, then I mean, what does that say about you in general? I get it, but there's a lot of things that go into this too. Now, I was a person, of course, starting out college, that even through high school, I understood the information, and I love to read playbooks. But if you gave me a test, like an actual test on paper, I had test anxiety, and I got through it. I learned different things to do to move through that. In order, that's how I went to college and got my degree, and that's how I got through that. Now, I understand it's a little bit different. I agree with you. I think, look, football IQ, there's something to be said about that, and for people, it's something that is innate. I think that people need to understand. For Tua, you don't discredit it necessarily, but there are things you do discredit about it when you look at Tua. Tua is a proven athlete. He's a proven winner. He has gone and done so many things, and when you look at the quarterback position, there are some guys you get that just kind of go out there and they make tremendous mistakes. I mean, I throw this guy out there all the time, but a Jameis Winston makes a ton of mistakes there. You look at guys like a Dwayne Haskins that struggled to read a playbook. The quarterbacks look, there's guys that have failed this that did great. So that's where I get it plays a role, but what type of role? I think it's different for each person in all this. And I think if anything, You look at it, and some of the scores don't necessarily surprise you with guys like Joe Burrow making high up there, Nate Stanley. Let's remember, though, Ryan Fitzpatrick scored a 48, but he also went to Harvard. So this is a guy that was built for things like the Wonderlic test. But, Coach, I want to move on to something here. Speaking about Joe Burrow, I think this is awesome. What an awesome story to see. This is the maturity level for Joe Burrow as well. The 23-year-old quarterback recently reached out to former number 1 selection for his input on transitioning to the league. It's, Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning warned Burrow that his football situation is about to become very different. He said he called me about some of the things that I tried to do as a rookie that maybe he can apply to his NFL career. So Peyton Manning goes on to talk about this a little bit more and says, looks like it's going to be different for the Cincinnati Bengals. What I told him was, look, Joe, if you're the first pick in the NFL draft, you are going to a team that has earned the first pick in the NFL draft. There are going to be some holes there. There's a reason the Colts were picking number 1 that year. There's a reason the Bengals are picking number 1 this year. Peyton goes on to talk about Jim Mora never took me out. I learned some things in the fourth quarter of those blowouts about what it took to be an NFL quarterback, and the next year we went from 3-13 to 13-3. That wouldn't have happened if I hadn't hung in there and learned the ropes as a rookie, even though we took some bumps and bruises. So that's what I tried to encourage Joe and all the other rookie quarterbacks, that your rookie year is not going to be the same as your senior year in college. But if you learn how fast the defensive backs are, how soon you have to get rid of the ball, understand defenses, you can become a better player and really get it going in a year or two after that. Coach, I think this is awesome, and I think that's look, you've been there. You've played quarterback as well, Coach, at the highest level. I think that is great advice from Peyton Manning, and I think it's awesome that Joe Burrow reached out.
Well, I think you went to the right person in Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning would be very upfront, honest, and forthright with him. But here's the deal. It's not as simple as one solution fits all. Now, he's right about the holes in Cincinnati. Expect that. Don't expect the greatest protection. Don't expect the greatest and support from other places on the football team. But you do learn to get better. Now, here's the flip side. Here's the thing that has happened as well. For Peyton Manning, it worked out great. He played his rookie year. He took his lumps. And I'm sure it helped him because of his work ethic and his football IQ and all the other things that go along with it. But there have been quarterbacks that have come in and been thrown to the wolves in their first year, and it ruined them. And it just, they never really reached the potential. I hate that word potential, but they never reached the productive level that was anticipated. And for example, David Carr, I think when he came out, he was the number 1 pick in the draft to an expansion team, Houston. Now, he just won. There are others. But he took such a beating the first couple of years that he was there. I don't think he ever recovered. I don't think he ever came close to recovering. And he was a heck of a quarterback. I know some people that felt that he was going to be the next superstar quarterback before he came into the league. And had very good talent evaluators that felt that way. So I'm giving you a little inside there. And, it's again, it may be, let's hope that the experience, whatever the experience is for Burrow in Cincinnati in his first year, that it's good for him and will be something he can build on for his future, because he's got a great future. And let's just hope that he's not the type, I don't think he is by any stretch, that he's not the type that first year would be a real detriment to him.
Yeah, I agree, and that's the thing that I've said from the beginning here is, for a guy like Joe Burrow, you hope to see him go and be treated, not just, we've seen teams go get the best guy, and then they don't build around them. They don't necessarily, they say, okay, we got the quarterback situation figured out, let's go do other things. I think it's important to protect your biggest asset right there. And Joe Burrow, listen, we're all figuring right now, and it seems like almost a no-brainer. I know things can change, but Joe Burrow's going to go number 1 overall. Of course, when we come back from our break, we'll talk a lot about the draft, have a lot of information. But I think for Joe Burrow, it's interesting just because of how special he is. And like, you talk about the IQ levels and the football IQ and just the way he presents himself. He is such a cool character. I mean, a lot of guys don't know what to say. I think he approaches the media pretty well. I don't think there's been a whole lot that he's done wrong. Ever since winning the national championship, we've seen a lot of guys make mistakes after being in the spotlight like that. And remember, Joe Burrow hasn't always been in the spotlight. This is a guy that has a tremendous story transferring from Ohio State. And last year, if you would have told me that this guy would have been the number 1 pick in the draft, I'd have laughed you off stage. I mean, just because of how average he was. And you look from zero to hero almost to what Joe Burrow's been able to do. So this is a guy that's learning as he goes, but I think it says a lot about him and it says a lot about his character. But nonetheless, we're up against a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the NFL draft, of course, coming up on Thursday. The Giants doing a little deep dive on Justin Herbert. Well, not so fast. Don't think anything yet, Giants fans. And we're going to talk about Peter King's mock draft. A little bit of interesting things we need to talk about, Coach. All that and more whenever we come back right here on Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Sometimes your bank, your family, and your friends love you, but they don't have the money to help you. Sometimes we have chances to make money, but the old saying, you've got to have money to make money, rings true. At Pensacola Specialty Pond, we can help. If you have trucks, heavy equipment, airplanes, boats, jet skis, anything with value, Pensacola Specialty Pond can loan you that short-term money you need. No credit checks, and at Pensacola Specialty Pond, you're going to find the money and the discretion you need.
Now at 6428 Pensacola Boulevard, north of Car City. Call 432-9050, 432-9050.
Pensacola is an amazing destination enjoyed by millions of people every year. High Point Hotel Corporation is proud to offer area visitors a place they can call home in Pensacola. Whether you're looking for a downtown property with space to work and play, a place to rest your head before your morning flight, or a large suite for an extended stay, High Point Hotel Corporation has a place for you in Pensacola. Visit us today at the Courtyard or Resident Inn by Marriott in downtown Pensacola, or the Hampton Inn, Homewood Suites, Hilton Garden Inn, or the new Residence Inn near the Pensacola Airport.
Pensacola's own NFL Hall of Famer Emmitt Smith has some tips for us during this time.
This fight is up to all of us to try to help bend that curve. It's going to take teamwork. It's going to take us to stay committed, stay focused, and stay dedicated to the mission at hand, and that is to keep everyone safe. So be encouraging. Find some support. Find someone to talk to every day to encourage them to keep on continuing in this fight. And we will beat this pandemic.
Like all of us, small businesses are being affected and impacted by these uncertain times. But we will get through this together. When you can, please try to support your local restaurants, bars, or any other establishments that are still open for carry-out or delivery. The following businesses continue to serve their communities and customers by remaining open, and they need your support.
Moe's Southwest Grill, open for pickup and delivery.
Welcome back to Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you alongside former NFL head coach Kay Stevenson on this Monday afternoon. Hope everybody's doing well. We're talking some football with you, Coach. To get into some draft. Now, the draft, of course, being Thursday, we're going to talk all about the draft as we, have been for quite a while now. A lot of intrigue. There's something here that's popped up, and I'll give my personal opinion on this, Coach, and I'll get yours, of course. The Giants have spent a lot of time researching Oregon quarterback Justin Herbert, a process that's included FaceTime conversations with Joe Judge. Coach, I'm going to go ahead and start this one off and say, you know what? I think this is nothing more of maybe trying to find out how much they like him in order to maybe field trades or whatever it may be. I don't think there's any interest at all, of course, with Daniel Jones being there. I think this is them understanding how valuable Justin Herbert is. Is that a correct assumption, maybe, in my opinion or your opinion, or is there something else here?
Oh, I don't think. Here's what I really think is going on. Look what position they're in right there. They're in the fourth. They got the fourth draft pick in the first round. Now, what I have heard, and this has been picking up the chatter, like they pick up chatter on the internet and whatever, and anticipate a strike by terrorists and so on. Well, there's chatter. There's a lot of chatter that's going on right now about Justin Herbert. He's picking up a lot of interest, JP, and there's probably a good reason for that. My gosh, the more you see the guy, and the more you look at look at him in total, he's a very attractive quarterback prospect. Now, what they could be doing with that pick is leading some people who are so high, getting so high, and I know how this goes, as you get closer and closer to the draft, and teams start falling in love with a guy, or they get more and more in love with him as the draft nears, and then they don't want some other team to take him away. So what they may be doing is getting enough word out there in the league that they may be interested in taking the guy themselves, that somebody has to come up and offer them an unbelievable trade situation to jump up there and take Herbert. Now, that could be the case, and I think very well could be the case given the fact that they have a quarterback in Daniel Jones, and I think they have a good quarterback in Daniel Jones. Now, whether they think this guy has become so interesting that he out-trumps with a new coach, he out-trumps the quarterback they have, which could be the case, but I doubt it. I think it's what we said. I think that they're looking for interest from other teams. And look, here's the other thing you got to consider. What else would people be moving up for? Who else would they be moving up for in that position other than a quarterback, giving up quite a bit in the way of draft equity? So it may be they have to create interest in a quarterback, not another position player.
Yeah, I agree. I think, look, you do your due diligence. I think every team does that anyway. But I think this is there's a lot of – look, I want to talk about Peter King's mock draft on this point. Now, Peter King has the Dolphins trading up to number 3, taking that pick from the Lions to get Justin Herbert. Now, there's some intrigue here because this is where, of course, Peter King comes on and says, this is what I've heard and things, and this is kind of what I predict that could happen. Obviously, we all know that we have no idea what's going to happen, and a lot of these teams don't release any information, period, unless it was just leaked by accident, which I can't imagine happening. But nonetheless, Dolphins trading up to number 3. See, Coach, this is where I wonder, is there that much interest? Are you hearing from your sources there's that much interest in a Justin Herbert for the Dolphins to possibly give up that equity to trade number 3, not to get Tua, but to get a Justin Herbert?
Well, you got to look at the whole situation. Just what you just repeated from Peter King, that goes to show you how much interest there is out there, more so now and more so recently than was even a week ago or 4 or 5 days ago. it's building, and I can sense that. I've been through this before in the draft, and I've seen how it builds on certain players as you get there in the draft. I think that's what's happening right now with Justin Herbert. There's some teams out there that say he's the guy, and other people have misread him, and if they're passing on him, well, we got to have him. And how do we make that happen? They also, I think Miami would look at Tua the same way we've been talking about. If they just stayed with the fifth pick and he fell to the fifth pick, and they drafted him, that's one thing. If he's injured and can't play, or injured again pretty quick in the season, they've wasted a number one draft pick. But if they trade using other number one draft picks to move up to take him, now it's double and triple jeopardy. So I really think that they may be putting their eggs in the Herbert basket and saying that they want to move up to take him, less chance of an injury situation, or a player not being healthy, less chance within. But still, it's just so interesting. This draft. Let's everybody keep in mind, this is a very deep, good draft, just like you said to start off the show here. And the other thing that it contains not only some outstanding, interesting quarterback situations, but other big play people who can make the big play at any time. A lot of speed, great receivers. I think there are a couple of backs that will be dominating backs in the National Football League. Offensive tackles, just a lot of talent there. There's some good defensive players in the draft. So it's a very good deep draft, and they're going to. It's going to be interesting right to the last pick in this draft, I can tell you.
Yeah, I agree. And, Coach, one thing with Peter King's mock draft is, of course, he has the trade with the Dolphins trading up to number 3, and then he has the Lions at number 5, taking, of course, Jeff Okudah, which is somebody they need. But, regardless on that, the Chargers at number 6, he has them taking a tackle, Andrew Thomas out of Georgia. I know we've heard some different things about Andrew Thomas, but passing on Tua here, he says that right now they like Tyrod Taylor as a bridge quarterback, and with all the concerns that are flaring up about Tua, they have big needs at offensive tackle. So he has them passing up. Something interesting on this list as we go through, a lot of it's kind of, closer to the same of what we're seeing, but he has New England trading up to number 13. If this was to happen, New England trading up to 13 to trade with San Francisco, the 49ers, to get Tua at quarterback. So, Coach, I know that this is something that, look, if Belichick likes a guy, he goes out and gets him, and nobody really gets in his way in this. I know quarterback is not necessarily the biggest need for him right now. It may be. I'm not sure. If he did this, obviously this is something where he doesn't believe in the incumbent there, but I don't know. Look, on this note, Peter King talks about New England and why he believes this could happen, and said, well, I respected team doctor for an NFL team who gave Tua the once-over at the Combine and asked him where he thought about Tua's propensity for injury while at Alabama. A broken hand, 2 high ankle sprains, and a hip dislocation. Most recently, of course, this is what the doctor, whose team is not in the market for a first-round quarterback, told him. He said, these contact injuries are a part of the game. You ask yourself, is this guy injury-prone, or does he have a bullseye on him because he's a crucial player on his team? I've seen a few of the hip dislocations in football. Of my experience is that if you lose blood supply to the hip for a long enough period of time, you're in trouble. I don't think that was the case here. I see it as the effects of the dislocation might show up when he's 35, but not when he's 25. Now, Coach, we've talked about this. Nobody's truly going to know until it ever happens, if it does. But could you see New England doing this? And if New England did trade up here to get to us, say at number 13, does this mean that Belichick maybe doesn't necessarily believe in Stidham, or is it for depth purposes?
Well, listen, you can never tell, especially in a draft like this, you can never tell what's going to happen. Now, one team, let's look at the whole picture. Belichick has a great relationship with Alabama. Okay, and that's number one. They they don't have to worry about, Belichick doesn't have to worry about whether he's injured and can't play, because they're not going to fire Belichick. Okay, so he doesn't have that where he can take that risk. If he feels he wouldn't do it just a terrible risk, but if he feels through his medical people that it's not a big risk, and he could get a quarterback like Tua, I could see that happening. This is not like Belichick now. I'll say this is un-Belichick-like. Number one, to move up. More likely to move down, but to move up and then to take a quarterback with the number one pick, I don't see Belichick doing that. But I will tell you, it could happen. And remember, again, Saban worked for Belichick. They have a very, very close relationship. And Saban is going to give him straight, good, honest information. But, I mean, he's going to give Tua the best recommendation he's ever given a player. I'm sure of that. So I could, to answer your question, I could see it happening. I don't think it's I don't think it's truly all that realistic, but I could certainly see it happening. The other thing, let me throw out to you that I've heard too, is that we looked at the Giants taking the linebacker Simmons from Clemson. That's who people have had at that position for a while. But I have heard that it's more likely they'll take an offensive tackle there. So that's interesting too, because that would slide Simmons down and create some trading and maneuvering in the background there to get to Simmons.
Yeah, the Peter King, of course, has the Giants taking Tristan Wirfs out of Iowa there. And Wirfs, of course, is a guy that a lot of people think he is pro-ready right now, ready to go. Smart kid, athletic, does a great job. Very, just ready to plug and play at any moment, and that's the difference. Mekhi Becton is probably the most interesting prospect because he's 6'7", 364, but he is raw. So that's where people, if you're the Giants here, Tristan Wirfs is just off the charts. But, Coach, I agree. Isaiah Simmons, to me, is personally the most appetizing guy in this draft when you look outside of the quarterback position, just because he can play three different positions. He can go and play, edge rusher if he needs to in different looks, and he can go play linebacker, and he can play multiple linebacker positions, but he can also go play safety if you need to. He's quick enough. Remember, this is a guy that's 240 pounds and runs a 4.39. And just to give you an idea, Jeff Okudah, the corner out of Ohio State, runs a 4.6. So it just tells you the athletic ability of somebody that's 240 pounds, is 6'3", just built unbelievable. This is a guy that I think is I know he's getting some praise. I don't think he's getting enough just because of what he did at Clemson. So Isaiah Simmons, Coach, you're right. This could be a guy that if he drops, this could be really interesting to see what happens. I think that, Coach, we're going to go to a break right now. When we come back, we're going to talk about the Missouri Tigers. This is, a different regime coming in with Eli Drinkwitz. He's brought in a lot of new coaches with him, of course, finishing 6-6 last year. I think things may get a little bit better, but we're going to have everything you need to know about the Missouri Tigers when we come back right here on Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck, Bentley. That was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Pensacola is an amazing destination enjoyed by millions of people every year. High Point Hotel Corporation is proud to offer area visitors a place they can call home in Pensacola. Whether you're looking for a downtown property with space to work and play, a place to rest your head before your morning flight, or a large suite for an extended stay, High Point Hotel Corporation has a place for you in Pensacola. Visit us today at the Courtyard or Resident Inn by Marriott in downtown Pensacola, or the Hampton Inn, Homewood Suites, Hilton Garden Inn, or the new Residence Inn near the Pensacola Airport.
Man, do I love card night. You ready, boys? You got a king?
Go, fish, Dad.
Oh, come on. This is WWE superstar Titus O'Neil. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today. Learn more at 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Matt Kenseth. You don't have to be a race car driver to know that life can be full of drama. Some of it you can't control, like mechanical issues, high winds, and rain delays. But there's some drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org.
You just need to take that first step and find free classes near you and leave the drama for the racetrack.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ed Council.
Hey, this is Chad Brillante from the Afternoon Sports Drive, and you're listening to Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Welcome back to Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you alongside former NFL head coach Kay Stevenson on this Monday afternoon. Hope everybody's doing well. We're talking some football with you. As always, talking about the Missouri Tigers. Now, this is a team, Coach, that when we look at Missouri, not so good last year. Talk about a couple things before we get started. Last year's team, of course, 6-6 was the record. Barry Odom was the coach there. Barry Odom was not necessarily a guy that a lot of people liked, but I think he's a great defensive guy. And it spoke with when you look at the stats here. Now, offensively, they averaged just over 25 points a game, which, ranks 93rd out of 130 teams in FBS. Not going to win you a ton. But their defense is what kept them in ball games. Their defense giving up just over 19 points a game, and that's 16th in college football. That's impressive when you look at the numbers, and that's where Barry Odom, a lot of people loved his defensive prowess, but offense was not getting it done. Of course, in the conference, they were 3-5. This is a team that Missouri has been a little bit against the grain for quite a while. Now, of course, Drew Lock, they've had some good players come out of there, but they've never been able to figure it out. This is never a team that's been able to get over that hump. And remember, they're in the SEC. It's tough. And, out there in Missouri, recruiting's a little bit tougher than a lot of places down in the hotbed, down here in SEC country. But nonetheless, Coach, I want to start out real quick, talk about the schedule for 2020. Of course, they start out a few games at home, Central Arkansas, and then they have Vandy at home. Then they go to Columbia to take on South Carolina, then back home against Eastern Michigan. Then an interesting game here going to Knoxville to take on Tennessee. Then on the road again at BYU. Then they're back home a couple SEC games with Georgia and Kentucky. Now we got to go to Mississippi State and Mike Leach's Bulldogs. Then, another tough game when you look at this. They've got some tough games in the schedule, but they go to Ben Hill Griffin Stadium and take on the Florida Gators. Then they're back home to take on Louisiana. Then they're, playing a little game there at Arrowhead Stadium, home of the Kansas City Chiefs, to take on the Arkansas Razorbacks, which is another team that's kind of in a position like Missouri, except Missouri's probably better suited right now. Now, Coach, I will talk about the Missouri Tigers. Eli Drinkwitz is a guy that came over from Appalachian State. Hey, look, this was phenomenal what he did there. We've seen coaches have success at App State, but he was special. I don't know. A lot of people, whenever they signed Eli, a lot of Missouri fans were kind of wondering, well, who is this guy? Not to knock him, but just because we're an SEC program. Why are we getting a guy like this who had one good year at App State? I think his record speaks for itself, though. I think he's a guy that will be unique. And offensively, that's what Missouri needed. Look, defensively, I think they're going to be great. I think they're going to be really good, and that's impressive to give up just over 19 points a game in the SEC to have that SEC schedule. I think, though, this will be, the spring has been cut down for Eli Drinkwitz. this is where you really needed this spring like this, but this will be interesting to see what happens. Everybody's going through the same thing. He's going to, of course, install a brand new offense, employ a new playbook, identifying players that best fit his scheme. The one thing I will say, while he was at App State, he employed multiple looks in his offense, and he had a run-heavy approach that averaged over 43 rushes per game compared to just 26 pass attempts per contest. So I think that's going to happen in Missouri. I think that's the way they're built. They're returning their two running backs, Larry Roundtree and Tyler Beatty, and they're both guys that can receive the football if need to. Of course, Beatty is more of the receiving threat. The time will tell. I think give Drinkwitz some time here, and the offense, it's going to take a little bit for them. This is not a turnaround in a year type program, but one thing I want to mention, they're 100th in the nation out of 130 teams in returning production, offense, and defense. Now, 43% of their offensive production is returning. That's 111th in the nation, and 65% of their offense is returning, which is about 60th in the nation. I think, of course, they have a quarterback competition. They have Connor Bazelak recovering from a torn ACL. Four-star true freshman Brady Cooks, not even on campus. Well, he is on campus now. But the guy that's interesting here is Sean Robinson, who transferred from TCU last season. Now, this is a guy I think is going to be really impressive for them. I think it's going to help them go a long way. Of course, they have offensive line problems, but, Coach, they have to continue to play strong defense. They ranked top 20 in defense, which is impressive at Missouri, of all places. They're bringing back their top tackler at linebacker, their sack leader at defensive end, their leader at the safety position. I think the defense is going to be strong, but it's can Eli Drinkwitz get some offense out of the Missouri Tigers?
Well, you paint a very interesting picture there. I think Drinkwitz coming over from App State, he did a heck of a job. Even though we only got one true year to talk about there, but he's evidently he's a very structured, good football coach. You have to be to take a small program like that and do what he did. Now, Missouri is interesting in itself. I had was comparing Missouri to other football schools. This was a number of years ago, with a very, very successful college coach. I'll tell you who it was, Charlie Pell.
Okay.
And we were talking about it, and he brought up some very interesting points. He said, Missouri should be an excellent football school. And here's why. They're the only big-time football program in the state of Missouri. On one border, they have Kansas City, and on the other border, they have St. Louis. So they have access and home field advantage on some large populations there, considerable populations. They have good programs in other parts of the state, not bad, pretty good high school football. Charlie was fairly familiar with some of their high school football. He said, in other parts of the state, certainly to the north of there and to the south, they had good programs. And there's no reason that they couldn't be at least in contention, maybe not every year, but certainly 1 out of 3 years maybe, or 2 out of 5, they should be in contention. But he's right. They have access to quite a bit of football. They're good football, and it's not like they have to go totally foreign to bring people in to play there. Plus, now with the SEC, I think that when I was talking with him, it was before the SEC. But with being in the SEC, should enlist the interest of a ton of other kids who would have a chance to play in the SEC, play against the Alabamas and the Floridas and the Auburns and the LSUs. That should be a tremendous advantage for them. So I think Missouri, if properly motivated to take the steps, and I think this is the problem. I don't think they are. They lack facilities of most anybody in the SEC, with the exception of Vanderbilt. But if they would enhance their facilities there and really put a a strong discipline program in effect and go after a top football program, they could surprise some people. Now, I know that's not like talking about this year's Missouri football team, but it gives you some idea of what could happen there. I think right now they're at best, middle of the road SEC football team.
Yeah, I agree, Coach. I think that I could see them possibly getting 7, maybe 8 wins, just because of how dominant that defense is. It's going to take a little time. And look, the spring being gone is going to hurt them a little bit. I know everybody's doing it, but for new coaches, implementing a regime change like they did, bringing all these different coaches in here. But, Coach, I want to bring up a guy that I think he's a great coach. I don't know if he's a great head coach, but Barry Odom, of course, that lost his job at Missouri where Eli Drinkwitz came in. I think, of course, Barry Odom was 25-25 at Missouri. It never really panned out for him, and I think that part of that is because it's tough sledding for Missouri, but his best year was 8-5, and that was in 2018. Coach, when you look at a guy like Barry Odom, is this a guy that could be a good defensive coordinator, or do you think he's a good head coach? I mean, am I wrong on this? I'm just kind of curious what you think, because I hear a lot of people that were ready to get Barry Odom out of Missouri after his first year in 2016.
Well, let me be perfectly honest. I'm not qualified to rate him as a head coach. I have heard that he is a very good, exceptional, in some cases, defensive coach. So I would have to say, based on what I've heard, and of course the defense he put together there at Missouri and had done before, that he's an outstanding defensive coordinator. I don't know about his head coaching ability, don't know the guy really, and then certainly had no access to the Missouri program. So I would have to say, based on what I know, JP, I would say he would make a very good defensive coordinator, and just totally unknown on the head coaching ability.
Yeah, it's just interesting. I think a lot of people are, of course, this is a time where you could be the most perfect person in the world and people are going to try to pick you apart. But look, Barry Odom, I think it was a great move because he's the defensive coordinator at Arkansas. I think that it's the guy that's his niche, and it's perfect for him to go to Arkansas right now with a program that's trying to rebuild every aspect of it. That's from top to bottom there. So I think look, Coach, we talk about the Missouri Tigers. I think this is a team, I think you were right, a middle-of-the-road team right now. Like I said, best case scenario, and I hope I'm wrong, but could be 8 wins for them. I see more of a 6-win, 7-win team. But nonetheless, we got to go to a break. When we come back, Coach, we're going to talk something interesting here. A lot of news. Now, remember a few days ago, Jaguars running back Leonard Fournette saying he wanted Cam Newton to come join the Jaguars. Now, Leonard Fournette is on the trading block, supposedly, for the Jaguars. We'll talk more about that when we come back here on Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
There's only one place in town for the lowest prices and greatest selection of firearms. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Visit our fully stocked Gun Pro shop for new and used firearms, accessories, and ammunition. Check out the Indoor Shooting Range. We offer rentals on guns, including fully automatic machine guns and silencers. Ladies, this is the safe place to learn how to use a gun. Plus, Tuesday is Ladies' Day. Women shoot for half price all day. The best place to buy firearms in Pensacola. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Highway 29 in Car City.
Here are the ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM contest rules. You can win one prize per household per contest in any 30-day period, unless specified by individual contest rules. All prizes are non-transferable, non-redeemable for cash, or exchangeable for any other contest prize. Prizes must be redeemed within a 30-day period of winning and must be 18 years of age or older to win. For a complete list of rules, visit ESPNpensacola.com.
Pensacola is an amazing destination enjoyed by millions of people every year. High Point Hotel Corporation is proud to offer area visitors a place they can call home in Pensacola. Whether you're looking for a downtown property with space to work and play, a place to rest your head before your morning flight, or a large suite for an extended stay, High Point Hotel Corporation has a place for you in Pensacola. Visit us today at the Courtyard or Resident Inn by Marriott in downtown Pensacola, or the Hampton Inn, Homewood Suites, Hilton Garden Inn, or the new Residence Inn near the Pensacola Airport.
The latest sports news is at ESPNpensacola.com and on Facebook at ESPN Pensacola. Plus, watch Chad Brillante, Coach K, and Sports Call live on our exclusive YouTube channel, ESPN Pensacola 1330.
Talk football every day with Pensacola's own Coach K.
Credit a great performance by Garoppolo. And I love the way he throws the football. He's got all the things going for him.
Every weekday, noon till 1 on ESPN Pensacola 1330 FM 99.1.
The teams, the games, the fans, the local talk. This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM.
Welcome back to Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you alongside former NFL head coach Kay Stevenson on this Monday afternoon. We hope everybody's staying safe. We're talking some football with you. Coach, we're going to question that I've asked you before. We've talked a lot about players, of course, on here. You have some of the sources, the inside sources there. Look, right now, of course, remember last week Leonard Fournette came out and wanted the Jags to go after Cam Newton. Now, of course, Gardner Minshew, this is after Nick Foles left for the Bears, and Gardner Minshew seems to be their guy, which, look, public opinion can go either way. I like Gardner Minshew. I think this is a guy that could be good. I think he was also, that we have to remember, was a later round pick. And so he wasn't the guy necessarily they were going after to be their franchise guy. So it is different. It wasn't a first-round pick, obviously. But for Leonard Fournette, we've seen players, no shortage of players in Duval County there for the Jacksonville Jaguars that have said they want out. Now, Leonard Fournette has said things before about the Jags that he's not happy. Last year he said, look, I'm not getting the football enough. The next game they give him 30 carries and he gets over 200 yards. He's had injury problems. It never really has truly worked out for them drafting him, which I'm not saying this to boost my own ego here, but Leonard Fournette, remember in college he had injury problems as well, and the guy was lights out, but, running back position, we see that is so risky each and every time. Now, there's rumors that he wants out. The Jags have had trade discussions with other teams about the running back, and that's coming from Adam Schefter, of course. The Jags have until May 4th to exercise their fifth-year option on Fournette, who is scheduled to make $4.16 million in base salary. Now, remember, like I said, Fournette ran for a career-high 1,100 yards last year, caught 76 passes last season, but he scored only 3 touchdowns. His 1,600 yards in scrimmage ranked 6th in the NFL last year. But, like I said, injury problems in the past. Now, a couple things on this. Big rumors right now that are popping up are the Chiefs could be the favorite to go get Fournette due to the fact that they believe Damian Williams, and this is not the Chiefs saying this, but other people, that Damian Williams doesn't have the impact that Fournette can. Coach, a couple things. For the rumors on the Chiefs, I don't think that's a good move for the Chiefs solely because Damian Williams, it reminds me a lot like Patriots running backs. A guy that is versatile, a guy that can do different things, a guy that knows the playbook, that can block, that can catch passes. He stays healthy. He's a guy that I know he's had problems in the past, but he is a winner. I mean, he is just a grinder. He is also a guy that stays quiet. He stays in that locker room. He does what he's supposed to do. Bringing a guy like Fournette could cause you a lot of problems, especially on a Super Bowl winning team. I don't know if Andy Reid will do this. I don't think he will personally, but I don't think that would be a very good fit, Leonard Fournette to the Chiefs.
Well, as you said, he's had a number of injury problems. I think I think some of that is mental. But I'll tell you one thing he does have, without any question. He has a very volatile personality. And that does not bode well for your locker room or for any other players who may be led astray, easily led astray. And believe me, you've got them on any football team. You have your great character kids, and then you got those who some sit on the fence, and some are just waiting for the wrong thing to come along so they can join forces. So he would not be. I don't think he'd be good for any football team, and I could see why Jacksonville is talking about trading him. I don't know who's going to trade for him. There could be somebody. I don't, but I think it's going to be difficult for him. Also, don't be surprised at Jacksonville. There's something that somebody had mentioned, but nobody's really talked about it very much at all. There is a possibility, and I only say possibility, that Jacksonville has they're sitting there in real good shape. And there's a real possibility Jacksonville could end up taking one of those quarterbacks. So don't think that's totally out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah, I agree. I think that, look, Jacksonville is sneaky here. A lot of people said, well, they just got rid of Nick Foles. They obviously believe that, Minshew is their guy. I don't believe that. I think they like Minshew a lot. And Minshew's done a lot of good things for him, but Minshew is still not proven either. Let's remember that. And also, they are struggling. They have Josh Dobbs. That's the only other quarterback they have right now on their roster. So they're obviously out there looking. And I think if they can get somebody, look, if a Tua was to drop, I think this would be somewhere where that's probably worth the risk. I don't know everything. I'm not getting the doctor's notes and all this, of course. But I think it's interesting. Coach, I like that you mentioned the Jags here because, look, I agree with some of the moves they're making. All these guys, and I'm not saying they've done things right by any means, but guys coming out publicly and just, of course, causing trouble, and I call them the cancers of the program, and they've basically gotten rid of them, and they've gotten some good draft picks for them. Of course, Calais Campbell was another guy they let go for a fifth-round pick. I think they could have got a little bit better, but nonetheless, you're right. I think the Jags are doing something special right now. And this is a team that, remember, I know I'm one of those that I still don't believe Doug Marrone's the guy, but at the same time, this is a team that has a lot of good pieces right now. They're young, but I think they're going to do well. And if they can find somebody to take Leonard Fournette, I think this could be a big move for them.
Yeah, and they're laying in the weeds right now. But remember now, Jacksonville has 12 draft choices. They've got 12 picks in this year's draft in a very deep draft. So if they're going to get a quarterback, they're certainly sitting in the position to maybe get a very good quarterback. They could end up, and this is something that I thought about, how easy it would be for them to end up with Tua.
That's true. Yeah, I agree with you, Coach. I think that's something that we'll have to wait and see, of course. But nonetheless, I think a lot's happening in Duval County. A lot of people will like, maybe not right now, but nonetheless, Coach, that sound means time for us to go. As usual, we have so much we didn't get to, but it's been a pleasure, Coach.
You bet. Look forward to tomorrow, as always, JP.
Absolutely, Coach. Take care. We appreciate our listeners tuning in today. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, talking some football with you on Talk Football with Coach K, right here on ESPN Pensacola.
Why Milton, Pensacola.
It's First Take Your Take on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, Sirius XM, Channel 80. I'm Jason Fitz, and we start the hour with some headlines that you need to know. We know at this point, obviously, the pandemic has caused financial issues for sports across the landscape. Well, Marlins CEO Derek Jeter has told team employees during a conference call he's indefinitely foregoing his salary during the coronavirus pandemic. Reportedly, that salary is about $5 million annually, so he told members of baseball ops on the call they'll be paid through at least May 31st, and that he'll be foregoing any salary as they continue to figure out how to navigate these waters moving forward. A little bit of NFL news. The Patriots make their first uniform change in 20 years. But it doesn't look completely new to everybody. There's still some familiarity. That's right. They've taken their new jerseys as the Color Rush alternates that they'd worn in the past. So they took the Color Rush concept. They're making that now their permanent concept moving forward. So that has our good buddy Jerry that works on Go Look and Win Go quite happy. He says they look clean, and he's the fan, so I'll take his input on it. And lastly, the San Francisco 49ers are open to trading draft picks in the NFL draft. They have 2 first-rounders, 13 and 31, and they've told Adam Schefter that they are open to dealing either or both selections. So it looks like the 49ers, who currently have no selections in the 2nd, 3rd, or 4th rounds, want to acquire more picks. So quantity, quality, that debate, the 49ers looking at it and saying, maybe there's an opportunity to move down, and that's what they're going to be open to doing. Speaking of draft news, it should be noted all eyes are on some of our NFL insiders as the NFL is trying to do their mock draft right now, using, of course, no current players, but they're going through the mock process. Adam Schefter tweeted out 36 minutes ago, text from a participant on the NFL's mock draft that started at 1 p.m. Eastern, the quote, mock draft today, already technical glitch with Cincinnati's first pick, several exclamation points. Brutal. Diana Rossini also coming in and chiming in on this on Twitter, as she has tweeted out just a little bit ago, asked a coach to describe this mock draft. Quote, you've got the NFL main room that only main people in the organization can log into. You've got 15 to 20 scouts and coaches on another meeting. You have to find a way to call prospects after you pick them, sign off for trades. Lots of moving parts. So it looks like at this point it started off brutally, but she also pointed out after the start, it's running smoothly. It's quiet, actually, on the call. So everybody's trying to figure out what this process looks like. That's why they're doing the mock. Keep an eye on Adam Schefter and Diana Rossini's Twitter accounts to get the latest updates on what people are telling them about how it's working. In the meantime, I want to make sure you know about the All In Challenge. It's a fundraising effort for coronavirus crisis relief. 100% of what's raised benefits organizations providing food to those in need. Go to allinchallenge.com to see all the once-in-a-lifetime sports experiences and items to bid on or enter to win, including you can design and call a play at a Philadelphia Eagles preseason game, batting practice, and dinner with Aaron Judge. You can play horse, sit courtside for a Lakers game with Magic Johnson. It's important to note here, 100% of the proceeds benefit organizations providing food to those in need. I want to tell you guys, go out there and look at the site, but really look at it. There's 2 different sides to it. There's an auction side, and what's happening is a lot of people look at the auction side. They see the price of some of these experiences, like hanging out at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers' first home game with Tom Brady. You see the price, and you sort of recoil back in fear because it's very high. Remember, there's another section of the website that lets you essentially just buy raffles and the opportunity to just be a random pick. So you can buy a raffle ticket that gives you the opportunity to, for example, appear in a Scorsese movie that also features De Niro and Leonardo DiCaprio. So all sorts of cool experiences out there. It's as simple as buying a raffle ticket to do it. If you want to participate, learn more about how these organizations help, visit allinchallenge.com. These are tough times.